Hello. So this is in response to a post I read on Blue Sky. If you're watching this, you're probably familiar with Blue Sky because it's the only place that I publicize my videos at the moment. It's a social network slash microblogging platform that is a heck of a lot like Twitter was back about 10, 12, 13 years ago, certainly before Twitter, before the Musk era. This was not a post directed at me personally, but rather to a group to which I belong. First, I will read this note with commentary along the way. Then I'll have a few more thoughts about that. The message, the post. Dear men of Blue Sky. Okay. You're surrounded by strangers. That's true in its own way, though I personally, when I'm on Blue Sky, am surrounded by friends as well. Nobody asked to see your hairy, naked body. Nobody asked, so, okay, I get it. I'm not supposed to do anything until I'm asked. Okay, makes sense. Either put on a goddamn shirt or tag your post as adult content to spare our retinas. I'm going to tag in Cleo from Topless Topics here, just as an example of about the only example I have seen, possibly in my lifetime, of male nipples being something that need to be warned about the way female nipples do. Possibly the first thing since about the 1930s, when men fought for the right to be topless on beaches in America. Oh, and also to spare our retinas. To that, I would just like to say that I've never punched anyone. But if I do, it will probably be for some version of the joke where someone says, my eyes, or something like that in response to any part of a person's body, whether it's, their naked body, a shirtless man, legs that are untanned, anything like that. It is a form of joke that I find both hateful and, like most hateful things, incredibly lazy, as well as really dishonest, because honestly, do you really hate it that much, or do you hate the idea of it? So, to spare our retinas, that's tapping into a trope that has bothered me for a long time. Click on the shield above the post you're writing. Okay, that's actually kind of useful, that if they're going to say, put a warning on this, they tell you how to do it. Points for that. The enough line, enough already. Christ. As another one of my readers pointed out after this, is, sort of the gall of invoking Christ, even if just in a name, for if paintings and whatnot are to be believed, that was a man who spent a lot of time with no shirt on. Just saying, And so I blocked the person. It was a bummer because they were a mutual follow of mine before then. And also, according to the person's bio, both autistic and non-binary. One of those communities, autistic, I consider myself a part of, and non-binary, the non-binary community, I support and tend to get along well with. And those are normally two things that would make me say, hey, that's a person worth following on here, you know. And that probably was it, because I didn't remember anything else particular about this person. And that post did not make me want to go back and read any more of their stuff. They got a block as soon as I screenshotted their thing, and I quote posted it with a response that clearly they're not going to read as they are blocked. But I wrote as if to them, and but more for anyone else who would might consider saying something like this. You say nobody asked to see your hairy naked body. Well, no one asked you to spout a bunch of body shaming, hateful bullshit out of your fucking pie hole onto this internet, this corner of the internet that in general, Blue Sky is not yet the toxic waste dump that Twitter has become. It's pretty, respectful of, marginalized communities and whatnot. I'm not saying that as a man or as a hairy man, that's a marginalized community, but in general, I feel like there is a culture of tolerance on Blue Sky that has been lost on Twitter if it was ever there. And it's especially, I was hesitant to bring this point up, but it is especially disappointing to see hateful body shaming stuff coming from someone who has publicly positioned themselves as part of two marginalized communities that presumably this person knows what it's like to have hateful bullshit thrown at them. And and it's like, this, as you can tell, this got me worked up as much as because of the cliched tropes they use. Nobody asked, and spare our retinas. It's like, if you're going to be hateful, at least attempt to maybe be a little bit creative. Or better yet, don't be hateful at all. But so clearly, this got me worked up a little bit. Not so much for me, because I have, a fairly thick skin about these things. But there are a lot of people in this world, including a lot of men, who have not reached the degree of comfort in their skin that I have. And that can include possibly being sensitive or ashamed about body hair, which last I checked was a perfectly natural thing that happens to both men and women in varying degrees and placement. Apparently based on the way they wrote this, if my body wasn't hairy, that would be acceptable to this person. Personally, people can do whatever they want with their bodies, but I think it's honestly perverse that the removal of hair, body hair, is considered in American society to be the norm. And facial hair too. People say things like, why did you grow a beard? Nobody asks the men who shave their faces, why do you shave your face? This stuff grows out of my body naturally, and I like it, and I don't really see why I should spend time and money to make it go away because sometime in the last 40 years, someone decided that it was bad. And so, people who are going to be a lot more sensitive than me are going to read posts like that. And, I'm getting upset for them as much as for, or more than for myself. And that's really about all I have to say on that right now.